What is up, guys, on YouTube? My name is Dylan, go by Gemini. Just out here in Malibu. Gonna ride through the canyons, tried a little bit of vlogging. You can see a lot of people out here with the whole COVID-19 thing going on. A lot of the motorcyclists, of course, want to get out of the house and just go for a ride. It just got done raining, so the roads are a little bit wet, a little bit dusty, but just gonna have a nice calm ride. I haven't been through this particular road yet. I usually go through Topanga Canyon, but Topanga was shut down today, probably due to maintenance and whatnot. But without further ado, let's get back on the road. 2019 Yamaha R3, no real mods other than just like a slip-on. Alright. First time riding through here, like I said, so just gonna take it nice and easy. I don't really have anything I'm planning on talking about. Just thought I would get out here, you know, just see what comes up. I guess the first topic will be just riding in general, why I started riding, my background with motorcycles. So always wanted a street bike, never really had the opportunity. A lot of my family members weren't really for it. You know, I had my brother-in-law get into a pretty bad accident. I don't want to say he nearly died, but he got pretty injured. Shattered wrist, broken rib into a punctured lung. So that was pretty scary because, you know, he was married to well, still is married to my sister, but they had 2 kids at the time. Now they have 3. So it's like he stopped riding after that, which is kind of what inspired me to get a 300 and actually like hone my skills first before I get a bigger bike. He was on like a 600. He didn't have very many, like, you know, training sessions or anything like that. Yeah, this whole area is actually really nice. Sorry, just caught off by some of the beauty here. It's a nice little community. So yeah, but I still wanted to ride. I had rode dirt bikes. My dad owned dirt bikes. Never really was a huge fan of them, but I still, you know, had fun riding. Like, riding is always fun no matter what, for most people. But yeah, like, I had fun, but it wasn't like, you know, like amazing. I always wanted street bikes. I always wanted to go fast. I always wanted to go on the street. I love the way fully fared bikes look. So that was part of it too. But yeah, oh, this is like an actual canyon. Sweet. Waited until I was old enough to make my own decisions, you know. 28 right now and riding my first street bike. I have a little over 1,000 miles under my belt, so still fairly new. I've taken a lot of classes. Safety is a big thing for me. I wear full gear no matter what. So I have a Shoei X14 helmet, the Alpine Stars Missile jacket and pants combo. So I have the Tech Air Race airbag vest inside of the Missile jacket, which is really cool technology, actually. It has like a G-force sensor in it. So most airbag vests come with like a tether, and the tether attaches to the bike, and then if you get, you know, thrown off or whatever, the tether disconnects and then the airbag goes off and it protects you. So the Tech Air vests have like a programmed G-force sensor that can sense the crash and deploy the vest, you know, before you impact anything, hopefully. But look at that view. Woo! Wow, that's a really cool rock formation. I've never been through here, like I said, so I've lived here my whole life, nearby at least, Los Angeles area. I've, you know, came through here like several times, but I've never ever been through this canyon, and this is beautiful. Highly recommended now. I was kind of skeptical, you know, in the very beginning when I saw just like that little community area. I was like, oh, it's probably just going to be like, you know, mostly small stuff, but this is just, wow, breathtaking. I'll just give you guys a second just to hear the bike and see the canyon road and this Camry in front of me. Actually, let's give him a little space. There's a car behind me though. Wait for a runoff zone, but there we go. Just take a second right here too. Man, this area is really, really pretty. Oh, look at that house up there. Sure, that's a few mil. Yeah, a lot of people out just want to get out of their house. You know, the whole COVID-19 thing's not the most fun. That's a steep fall though. Yeah, going back to bikes though, I love this bike. It's definitely the best starter bike, I think, in my opinion. You know, or a naked. You could go with a 300 naked as well, or you know, the Ninja 400 version. But yeah, 100%, like, I would recommend a lower power bike. Take a bunch of classes, you know, practice. This is not a good idea, man. Yeah, stopping on this street, probably not the best idea. With all the motorcycles and cars going through and whatnot. Yeah, kind of need some topics. New to motovlogging. I'm not sure what people really want to hear about. You know, do you want to hear about my story and how I got into motorcycling? You know, do you want to hear about bikes? Do you want to hear about current events like coronavirus? I don't think anybody wants to hear about that. Personally, I wouldn't even want to talk about it. Just so overplayed already. Yeah, I just want to meet some new people. I don't expect this to be anything, you know, crazy. It's just a hobby for me. It's nice to get out and, you know, just get to talk, clear my mind. You know, even if only 10 people watch the video and it makes their day, then that's more than I could even hope for. Yeah, because it's kind of why I'm doing this. There's just a few people that said, hey, you should motovlog, and I was like, oh, okay. Oh, my nose itches. Hold on. Always happens, no matter what, every ride. Oh, this is cool. Is there a gas station here? I actually need gas. I don't think there is. Man, where are we? The question now is, do I go left or do I go right? I'm gonna assume I need to go right, because I don't know how much gas I really have. So I should probably be careful too, because I have no idea how far away I am from getting gas. 2 bars in the tank. I mean, I doubt this road's 20 miles, 30 miles or whatever. So it should be okay. But yeah, you know, whoever does watch this, you know, if you can hear, thank you. You know, hopefully like this does something for you. Completely new to this. I actually filmed the video once already, but my last microphone was like really shitty, and just made a bunch of popping noises. So I got a better microphone, hoping this sounds better for you guys. Yeah, and I guess the next thing I want to get to is just talking about like how to ride on the street, and you know, like the whole, it's not really a taboo, I don't want to say, you know, like I wouldn't call it a taboo because people do talk about it, but like, you know, like this Porsche in front of me, for example, and probably the Golf in front of that, and other motorcyclists, it's like I used to treat the street like a racetrack, not gonna lie. Like, I had an Evo 10, it was like 600 horsepower, I'd roll race random people, you know, I would do stupid stuff on the road, and thankfully I got away with all of it. You know, I consider myself lucky. I never was in a crash, never had my car impounded, never had my license taken away, but I easily could have for all the stupid stuff. And look at that view, the Pacific Ocean, right here off the Pacific West Coast of the United States in Malibu, in the canyons, just enjoying life, trying to stay happy, keep myself sane. Hopefully all of you are as well. And it's like funny, every time I get on a little rant here, I just get distracted by something like that, but it's like, it's so beautiful. How can you not acknowledge it? You know, like, especially when it's your first time through here, like, it's just, whew. I mean, all the canyons are really beautiful, like, pretty much, I don't want to say the same because every canyon's unique, but it's you know, the same idea of just like the different rock formations, the view of the ocean, and that specific setting and scenery, like that, you know, it's what inspires like the classic artists, you know, when they see like a specific road. This Porsche is really doing some dangerous stuff right now, and that's what I mean. Getting back to what I was talking about, it's like it became like a thing to me where it's like I have to decide if this is worth it or not, you know. Like, if I lose my license, do I lose my job too? Probably. You know, I have to drive for what I do. You know, I do inspection and construction. You know, I'm driving around job sites all the time. It's like, is that worth it? You know, it's the same thing. So when it comes to riding motorcycles, it's like I want to be even more safe than I am, because, or was, I guess am, even more, you're just always more safe, like as safe as possible, you know. Like, I'm not going to try and play catch up with this Porsche. I'm just going to ride through the canyons and have fun, you know. Like, the biggest thing is I haven't ever gone down to, I haven't even dropped my bike. I have frame sliders, you know, like I have protection for my body, but I'd just rather not. Like, I see all this stuff as insurance, you know. Would you rather have an insurance claim, or would you rather just pay insurance and know that just in case something happens that is out of your control, you're covered? Like, that's the way I look at it, you know. Like, I have control over my own safety for the most part. It's the other drivers, the other riders, stuff like that. Those are the people we don't have control of. You know what I mean? And you can do your best to try and avoid them, but no one's perfect. There's a lot of riders through here. So, you know, which is why, like, I'm always, before going through the canyons, want to have a little spirited ride, you know, maybe like, if you're going like 45, 50 and a 35 in the canyons or whatever, like, that's one thing. But when you're like wheeling and going like 100, holy, okay, I gotta stop here. This is actually insane. Just want to check this out. Oh, probably a bad idea right here. Let's push it over here. Oh. Kickstand about sank into the ground. That would have been unfortunate. Oh. Let's see if this is better. I don't want to risk it. Alright, we'll do it on the asphalt over here. Hopefully it'll be safe enough. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Here we go. Better. Much better. Oh, this is crazy. Oh, rest in peace, dude. I hope he wasn't a motorcycle rider. Don't know who you were, but rest in peace, man. Wow, this view. Wow. I am so far deep in this shit right now. I'm actually really hoping I have enough gas at this point. You can see the ocean. You can, wow, this is, you can even see the mountains, snow-capped in the distance. I wonder how I get out of here. I think it's this whole entire road. Wow, I gotta come back here next time. Anyway, now I should have got some good views of that. I'm definitely gonna have to bring my fiance in here. Which, by the way, yes, I'm engaged. Which, I think is gonna be an awesome decision. I love the girl that I'm with. Woman now, I guess. She was a girl when I met her. I had to scrub off some of this dirt first. I'm gonna have to probably really cruise easy because I don't have a lot of gas left, and I have no idea how far I have to go for gas. So worst case, I have AAA and hopefully cell phone service. Even if I run out of gas, this will have been worth it. This is just actually really beautiful. I hope you guys are enjoying this too, because I know I am. Even though I can't see or, you know, hear any of your responses while doing it, it's just like, it's really cool if I get to share this, you know, even with anybody. Like, I'm gonna share this with just my close friends and family, and they're gonna be like, wow, like, you know, they all live around here too, and they've seen similar things, but it's always just so breathtaking, especially in person though, you know, like, that's what kind of sucks. You can't share that experience unless someone lives near you, but it's just like, wow, you know. So we talked about where I came from, you know, in terms of why I ride. Talked about just riding safety, riding smart, not treating the street like a racetrack, hopefully, and doing that. I mean, if it's your thing, I don't hate you, you know, like, that's your thing. I just don't agree with it. I get a lot of my inspiration of my philosophies and everything from Greg, aka Motojitsu on YouTube. He's got a good amount of subscribers now. I subscribed to him when he was still at like 20 or 30,000 subscribers. I'm not sure exactly how many he's at now, but I know it's like over 100 for sure, 100,000. And he's just really smart, you know. He came from a similar thing as me, but it wasn't the car. Like, he had an S1000, or no, he has an S1000 now. He had a CBR 1000, I believe, and that was his first bike. You know, he was in the military and he had money and he wanted the fastest thing, the same thing that other people are riding. He wanted that exhilaration of you know, the fastest thing he can get. He crashed it, you know, and like, he kind of changed his philosophy, and he kind of tried to spread that to others. My whole goal when I was going to ride is I was going to get a 600 and a helmet. That was it. That was my whole plan. A 600 and a helmet and good to go. Maybe gloves, you know. But it wasn't even like for protection. It's like because my hands get sweaty. So I was just thinking about it would just be annoying to have sweaty hands and ride. You know, and I found Motojitsu, and he explained things like, you know, wearing full gear, taking classes, learning to really hone the skill of riding, you know. So I reassessed what my goals were and what I wanted to do as a rider, which I'm still doing. I'm still reassessing and thinking, is this what I want in a bike? You know, what do I want out of my riding? What do I feel like I want to gain? What do I feel like I want to, you know, risk? So when I reassessed from my 600 and a helmet idea, I went to, okay, well, let's get a sport bike still, so we can have the sport bike ergonomics and work our way up to something faster, you know, and learn how to ride first with less power, which I saw the R3s and I was like, God, they're so beautiful. Like, even for a 300, out of all the 300s, in my opinion, the R3 looks most like its bigger brothers. The Ninja 400, you could kind of argue it, but the R3 is like almost exactly the same. I mean, anyone that knows the bikes, whether it's the you know, R3, R6, R1 line or whatever, they'll be able to point out the difference night and day. Like, you're stupid, like there's no way that these bikes look anything alike. Yeah, but to the average person that doesn't know a lot about motorcycles or anything about motorcycles or styling, you know, and you put them like all in a photo, yeah, they're gonna look slightly different, but they're gonna look very similar at the same time. So that, my whole thing was, I liked the R3 for, you know, mostly the styling, and I like the dash, you know, the LCD display. It's not a TFT display, so it's not colorful and crazy, but it still does the job for me. Like, I like that better than analog gauges personally. I like technology, I like things moving forward. Okay, dude, you're cool. Just riding on the wrong side of the road, that's intelligent. Passing on a double yellow on a motorcycle, also smart. But yeah, that's his thing. It's his life. Yeah, so went with the R3 and spent the other money that I would have spent on a ton of expensive gear. But you know what? I feel a lot safer. Like, you know, with my hindsight, it's like, dang, like I feel really safe compared to where I would have been. So, you know, I really like that I feel safe when I ride. And taking classes, I've taken like 2 of the like kind of most basic classes, like obviously like your starter class where it's like just complete noobs, which for me, like, even though I hadn't ridden street bikes, like I knew like I'd pick it up really fast, especially driving cars with manual transmissions and like dirt bikes in the past. I knew it wouldn't be that much of a thing. Like, I understand the clutch really well, even though it's just a different input with your hands. So I picked it up really fast. And then I took like the next step up class, which is like a riding refresher / semi-intermediate, I don't know what you want to call it, class. And you could tell I was way more advanced. I had already had like several hundred miles under my belt by then. So, you know, I'd already been riding and practicing in parking lots, which is another thing too, is like practicing in parking lots is amazing. That slow speed stuff, stopping, swerving, tight cornering, like all of that, like that is what defines like how good of a rider you are to me. Like, when you see the stuff Greg can do and you try and do like even the easier version of it, like, you realize how good of a rider and how much control he actually has. And you're just like, wow, like blown away by some of the stuff that he does. And it's not even just like getting knee down, you know what I mean? Like, that's kind of gimmicky in my opinion, to say I'm a good rider because I get my knee down. I've never had my knee down. Yeah, I've tried, but I didn't try very hard and didn't really care enough. Like, it doesn't serve a purpose other than to have fun. And I didn't want to get into the habit of like trying to get my knee down on the street and stuff, just because of how dangerous it is. And that's another thing, like even Moto Jitsu said, he's like, don't try and get your knee down on the street, like it's so pointless, you know, and it's just dangerous. And I agree, you know, like, as cool as it looks and as fun as it might sound or be, like, I know I just need to avoid that stuff. That is a lot of water. So yeah, I'll do it someday probably, but it's not on my top priority list. My main priority list is like basic body positioning, getting more lean angle, you know, like stuff like that, like head position and line selection and just all of the basics of like actual riding, you know, like that'll make you a good rider. Not just getting your knee down doesn't make you a good rider, unfortunately. So yeah, I'm just, and this is the kind of stuff I enjoy. So, you know, getting back to what I was saying about like assessing what you want as a rider, like now that I've had the R3 for a little while, do I really want to get an R6 or an R1 as my next bike, or something similar, like a sport bike with more power? I don't think I do. You know, like, I'm not saying I'm not going to do that, because I don't know what the future's going to bring, but when I think about it, what do I do with the bike? You know, I like to go out and do rides like this. Like, I'll do a little more spirited than this sometimes, but do I want to do this on a sport bike all the time? Oh my gosh, that's a big ass house. Somebody makes a lot of money. I don't think that I want to, you know. I don't think that I want to like ride on a sport bike through canyons and stuff. You know, if I have to go on the freeway to get to the canyons and do all that, I like sport bikes look amazing to me. I think they're the best looking motorcycles. I'm not a huge fan of like cruisers and stuff like that, and that brings me to naked bikes. Like I don't like the look of most naked bikes. There are some that I'm kind of, you know, like grow on me a little bit. Like I like the Aprilia Tuono. I think that's a pretty good looking naked bike. I don't like, you know, for example, the Triumphs, like the Street Triples. They just, there's something about the like headlight housing and stuff. It just looks like really like, I don't know, like bulbous and not sleek and just kind of like, it's hard to explain. It's just like, it's just ugly. That's just the only way I look at it. I'm not hitting on the rest of the bike, but I have like a big thing about that specifically. So for me, that's why I like sport bikes, I think, a lot too, is I just, ooh, here comes the crew. Wait, I need to figure out where I'm going real quick. Yeah, for me it's just like naked bikes just don't usually look good, and that brings me to actually the ZH2. The ZH2, I think, is one of the best, if not the best looking naked bike ever. The reason being, just the way they did the front of it is like one of the biggest things. Let's see, gas near me. Well, that didn't work. Okay, so where am I at right now? Okay, I need to go that way to get out of this canyon. So this is Malibu Canyon Road. This way takes me deeper into the canyon. Not what I want to do because gas is extremely limited at the moment. But yeah, the ZH2, amazing bike. Just so much power. I really love the styling on it. You know, for a naked bike especially, it's just like, it looks really good. So the next thing is, would I get that as my next bike? It's supercharged, like 998 cc's or something like that. You know, like that's a lot of power for a new rider. You know, so it's like, I mean, I won't be new by the time I get it, but I don't know if I'll be a good enough rider to be able to do anything with that bike. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I can't even push an R3 to its limits, and by the time I'm ready to get rid of it, I probably still won't be able to push an R3 to its limits. You know, like, it takes a lot, both skill-wise and like guts, to push a motorcycle to its limits. You know, like 90% of riders can't push an R3 like this. Even stock, on the stock suspension, they probably couldn't push this to the limit. 90%. You know, can I prove that? No. But I mean, if you guys wanted to, go get on an R3 and see if you can ride it as fast as the people that are in, you know, Moto 3 or whatever. Like, because if those guys are pushing those bikes to the limits and doing well doing it, that's when they move up, you know, to like the 600 and 1000 cc like MotoGP class. You know, those riders are the best riders on the planet for a reason. You know, like the people that ride the 600 class, they don't like, they can't compete with the guys that ride the 1000 cc's. They just can't. Or they would be 1000 cc MotoGP riders. Oh, is this a tunnel? Another canyon I've never been through. Tunnel. Thank you, sign, for agreeing with me. It's a tunnel. So, you know, but the thing is, again, what do I want? So For me, like, for example, right here, the bike sounds cool, you know? It sounds cool. It's got a good, like, sing to it, you know? It's got a good tone. But it's not amazing. It's not like a freaking eargasm. You know, it's just, it's cool. Like, it sounds okay. You know, it revs really high. I love high revving motors. So that's why motorcycles are also very attractive to me. Like, just having that really high revving motor sound, and just the engine screaming. I love it. So for a, you know, a straight two, you know, parallel twin motor, revving up to, like, you know, 11,000-12,000, this bike sounds good. Like, it doesn't sound terrible, in my opinion. I thought it was going to sound way worse, but I actually enjoy it. It has like a Yoshimura slip-on, nothing crazy, and it has a decent sound to it, but it's not going to scream through a tunnel like a ZH2 would, you know. And like, that's the one thing that I feel like I would really enjoy more about having a bigger bike, is just the experience, the sound of the bike, you know, the acceleration. I'm very addicted to that kind of stuff, you know, like not even just going fast. It's really like, that's honestly not even close to the top tier of my priority. This bike goes plenty fast enough, you know, like for me, I can ride it on the freeway safely. You see people on the freeway on Grom, so I'm pretty sure this bike's fine. You know, so I do miss that. My Evo 10 had a bigger turbo, a GTX 3576R E85, had an O2 dump downpipe on it, which means that the turbo wastegate vented to atmosphere. So when you're not on the boost, it's closed and doesn't make any extra noise. But then when you're on the boost, the wastegate opens, then it screamed, and it was just like spine tingling, like gave me the chills. Like watching the old videos of it still gives me the chills. And you know, I love it. Like, and I love that experience. You know, that was one of the biggest things for me about the Evo, was going from a stock exhaust to an O2 dump and full system. Completely changed my experience with the car. You know, like, I just liked driving it much more, just to hear it, just to hear the sound and the performance, you know, like. So that's like one of the biggest things, is like, I know I want to have a bike that I enjoy the experience more than this. You know, like, I could put an exhaust on this, but I don't think I'd enjoy it that much more. I know it would sound way better, you know, but even then, some people say parallel twins sound worse when you put full exhausts on them. So, you know, is that a risk worth taking? Money-wise, probably not. Like, I already spent money on the frame sliders, the tank grips, the tank protector, engine case protector, spools, all that stuff. So it's like, this is pretty much like, for me, the perfect bike right now for someone like me. It's just newer, learning to ride, out here having fun. But like, once I get better and much more confident, I've definitely gotten way more confident than when I first started. Sometimes a little overconfident and too relaxed, so I have to remind myself to stay focused. But it's like, I don't know, for me, like, I just, you know, I see myself enjoying the experience more, and that what brings me to like assessing what you want out of a bike. So this is my list of what I want. I want a bike that I enjoy the bike itself, visually, you know, and the audio. Like, the audio is one of the bigger things, and of course, like, the performance of the bike. Like, I'm not hating, this bike has an insane amount of performance. This thing can corner so ridiculously fast. Is it fast in a straight line? No, my Evo is faster, like 100%. It's not fast in a straight line at all. For a new rider, it's gonna feel very fast though. Like, when I first got on it, I was like, dang, like, this thing actually accelerates. But then you kind of become adapted to it, and you realize that you're not accelerating that fast. It's just you're not used to going 70 miles an hour, you know, with your body through space on top of something with nothing to protect you, that you feel like, wow, 70 miles an hour, that's fast. And then you realize it's not that fast. But, you know, so getting back to like my whole list of it is like, visual, you know, I want the bike to look amazing. I have to really, really love the styling, or I'm not going to get a bike. The R3, I love the styling, that's why I got it. Audio, you know, it has to have a good soundtrack. You know, like, what's a good movie without a good soundtrack, right? all the best movies always have amazing soundtracks. Look at like Lord of the Rings, you know, like probably my #1 thing. Like Lord of the Rings, the soundtrack was a huge part of that movie, like huge. Harry Potter, you know, like these might not be movies that you guys are like super into, but it's like these are some of the most legendary movies of all time and have very legendary soundtracks as well. So, you know, that being said, it's like that's why your motorcycle, in my opinion, you have to enjoy how it sounds. I enjoy how this bike sounds, but I don't love it, you know, like I want to love it. Like I want to actually love how the bike sounds. Like, wow, this bike sounds ridiculous. Like, that's why I like the R1s a lot, because that cross-plane crank, they just have a very unique sound. There's one video on YouTube that I like. I don't remember what the exhaust company is that was doing it. I don't know, I could probably link it in the description if I remember, but oh, Austin Racing. Okay, yeah. So look it up. It's the Austin Racing exhaust video where they're on the dyno, and it just screams. Love the hat. The Bandits. I gotta point that out. The fucking Bandits. That's funny. Oh man. But yeah. That's funny. That guy's cool. He's got style. I like it. I'd ride with him. Hey, I like though that he's laid it down. He's still on it, you know. I love his fucking helmet thing. That thing is funny. So I gotta do something like that, I think. But just for fun someday. Yeah, but getting back to it, so we got the visuals, we got the soundtrack. So the next thing is performance and what you're gonna do with the bike. For me, like I said, I ride through canyons. I at first I was like, I'm gonna be a track rider. I'm gonna be one of those guys getting their knee down, dragging knee at the track. That sounds really dope. Like, sounds like it'd be a blast. And then I realized, I don't know if I want to do that. Loading it up on the trailer all the time, track prepping it, making the drive out there. I know like a lot of that's part of the experience. It's like going out to the track, you know, like it's like going to a theme park or something, you know, like you're parking in this giant parking lot, there's a bunch of people, it's an event, you know. It's like going out and riding like this is, you can't really call this an event, you know, like you're just going out and riding. So, you know, you bring a cooler and easy up. Like, there's a lot to track riding that's not just riding on the track, and I really appreciate that too. Because I've been to track days, not for motorcycles though, and I've been to racing events in general. But you know, I think about it. It's like I don't know if that's for me. I really don't. Like, I'm gonna try it. Don't get me wrong. Before I get rid of this R3, I'm gonna go to a track day, like at least one, like just a beginner track day, because I got to make sure that that's not what I want. But the more I think about it, the more I'm like pretty sure it's not what I want. I want to just be able to go and de-stress on weekends. You know, maybe I want both. Maybe I'll keep the R3 when I get my next bike and turn this into a track bike and learn and cut my teeth on the track on this, you know, and have something else to do on weekends like this. Which is what leads me to, you know, when I put all that stuff together, you know, it leads me to a decently powerful, you know, not crazy, but decently powerful naked bike. It's more comfortable, you know. What else? It's just, it ticks all the right boxes, you know what I mean? So, you know, it has to look good, which, like, for example, let's just pull the ZH2 out, like I was talking about, just because I love that bike. It looks great, has an amazing soundtrack. It's supercharged, 4-cylinder, almost 1,000 cc's, you know, 998, whatever. And it's gonna definitely have all the performance, and it has the naked bike ergonomics that, you know, I could ride to, you know, the canyons or wherever, you know, and then just have a nice easy cruise. Like, my back's kind of hurting right now, but it's nothing crazy. It's just like, I've been out for about like almost 2 hours riding now, so it's like, again, it's but this is also an R3, you got to keep in mind. So the R3 does have sport bike ergonomics, and it is hunched forward, it's got the clip-ons, but it's not like, you know, it's not as aggressive at all as like an R1. Like, I've sat on an R1 in a dealership, and I can't put both my feet down. You know, I'm like 5'10", so I'm not tall, but I'm not short. I'm just kind of right in the Goldilocks zone or whatever. I'd like to be a little taller, not gonna lie, but you know, that's not gonna happen. At least not in our time. But on the R3, I can flat foot it, like, completely, like, and be very comfortable at a stop, whereas I'm tippy-toeing on an R1. So that just shows you the difference between the R1 and the R3 in terms of those ergonomics, which again is also why I got the R3 first, because it's like, I can see get an idea of what the sport bike ergonomics are, and think, if I can't handle this, I can't handle something more aggressive. You know, like, the biggest things for me are like the clip-ons, because you basically have the option of squeezing the tank as hard as you can, like a lot, with your legs, and using your lower back to keep your trunk up, or you have to put that extra weight on your hands just because of the seating position. Like, most of this ride I've been sitting pretty upright, but my lower back, the lumbar, has been curved the entire time, and that's just how it is. So I usually have to like bend down and crack it, or when I get home, stretch a lot and just make sure that I don't have any tight muscles left or whatever. So, you know, naked bike cures that problem as well. When I did my MSF course, you know, like the first course, before I even bought my bike, I rode the BMW 300. I forget what it's called, but it's the BMW 300 version of a naked bike, you know. I think it's a G300R or something like that. So that bike, I only got to ride it for 2 days, you know, in a parking lot at like lower speeds. So I don't really remember the whole you know, feel of it very well. I know it definitely wasn't like this. Like, I was definitely sitting more upright, wider handlebars, you know, not clip-ons, but it's kind of blurry. I'd have to ride it again after riding this for a while to feel like the true difference between the two. So, you know, what I'm planning on doing is, once I'm ready financially and in terms of like, you know, how good of a rider I am to move up, I'm gonna probably go and there's a website called twistedroad.com. So on that website you can rent bikes from just regular people. Like, you can even rent your own bike out if you want. And I'm probably gonna try out several bikes over the course of like a month or two, you know. I'll probably check out like a 600, 1000, a naked version, you know, and see, like, because the other thing too is, if I ride a 1000cc bike and I'm actually terrified of the power, getting a hyper naked is going to be a very bad idea. Knowing me, I'm not going to be terrified of the power. I was never scared, like when I had my Evo, and that, I'm telling you, 600 horsepower Evo 10 is not slow. It's not fast, like insanely fast, but you know, you're going to beat like pretty much every car you come across at 600 horsepower, and that's to the wheels too, right? You know, like, obviously I'm not going to beat something like modified an insane amount, but like, I was keeping up with things like McLarens, and I was like freaking stomping on Gallardos, like stock ones, which again, those aren't insanely fast cars. The McLaren was definitely faster, But you know, your average car is going to be a Corvette, a Camaro, you know, a Mustang, like a Subaru, like, unless the Subaru is super modified, you know, the WRX STI, they're not even going to come close to keeping up with you. So it's just like, that bike, that car was, it was decently fast. It was fast enough to scare people that aren't used to being in fast cars. Most of them like cover their face or close their eyes or something, you know, like it shoves you into the seat pretty damn good, because it made like 440 torque or something like that. So the torque wasn't insane, you know, like they put most of the power up high. It had a stock clutch, stock transmission, and stock motor, completely, all factory. It never opened. Like, and people say, well, you can't run that much power on a stock motor with stock internal. Actually, you can, as long as you have the torque in the right places and the torque doesn't hit and spike extremely hard. You're fine. You're golden. You know, like, those motors are actually very stout. So sorry to get a little off topic here and go back to my car days, but I guess the whole point is, like I said, like if I got into 1000cc, I don't think I would be terrified of it. You know, I think I would respect it a lot at first too. I obviously wouldn't just jump on and slam the throttle and just go like 180 miles an hour, you know, or like take first gear all the way to red line on one wheel. I wouldn't do any of that. You know, I would respect it. I would just get a feel for the power, roll it on in like second, third, fourth, and just see like what it actually means to have 200 horsepower in a motorcycle, and then go, okay, like, is that necessary? Like, is it worth the trade-off of having something, you know, with that much more power and that much more risk, just to have the soundtrack and the visual appearance? But the thing is, like, especially on, you know, like the ZH2, for example, there's so much technology now, it protects you from making mistakes. I mean, not 100%, there's never 100% protection, but that technology does protect you a lot now, you know, like wheelie control, traction control, lean assist, like lean angle sensors, and just all of that. Like, so this road I've been on quite frequently. We're on PCH here in Malibu. Sorry to interrupt again, but I know a lot of you are probably just looking at the view and just like, what? Because, you know, like, that's a view right there, right? I mean, there's so many views out here, it's insane. It's so insane. Nice Panigale. Not a huge fan of the Harleys, but, you know, to each their own. I'm not gonna hate. You're on two wheels, you're good with me. Unless you're a car on two wheels. Hey, that's still really cool. Not gonna lie, but or how about a wheeling trike? No, but yeah, like, think about what you want in a motorcycle before you buy it. Think long and hard, you know. I don't regret this bike whatsoever. I think this was perfect. Because even though I don't enjoy sport bike ergonomics, I do enjoy the look. And it's taught me that I don't enjoy sport bike ergonomics, which is, I mean, you could probably put two and two together without riding a sport bike and know you're not going to enjoy something that's not comfortable. But, you know, some people are more comfortable and some are less. You got to experience it. But I'm at, what, almost 13, I'll be at 1,300 miles today on this. I got it in August of 2019. It's currently April of 2020, so I don't ride a lot. I don't commute on it whatsoever. That's the other thing. So I didn't talk about that, but like, I don't commute on my bike at all. Like, I don't use it to commute. I don't use it to go to work. You know, nothing like that. I just use it purely for pleasure. So that's why, you know, a big deal for me is like making sure that I enjoy it and that, you know, it is like a good experience, you know, all around. Like, I want to enjoy everything about it, because I just see my bike and I go, I want to ride. I get on it and just go ride. I don't plan trips. Ooh, M5 sounded nasty. I don't plan trips. I don't do anything like specific, you know, when it comes to like my riding. You know, of course I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna go to the canyons, but I'm like, okay, I'm gonna take this exact route and I'm gonna do this exact ride. It's this many miles. You know what I mean? I just go out and ride, and I like to go on just adventures, which is like, well, why don't you get an adventure bike? Well, it's not that kind of an adventure. You know what I mean? I'm not going off-road and stuff like that. Adventure bikes are just big too. I like how they look. I definitely like ADVs more than most stuff. You know, I'm very preferential, like, when it comes to motorcycles. Like, I basically only truly, like, seriously like and love the look of sport bikes. I can't tell you why. It's just everyone, you know, beauty's in the eye of the beholder. And for me, I see beauty in sport bikes with fully faired setups. I just think they look sleek, aggressive. It's like the difference of looking at, like, ooh, that's nasty. You know, like a Lamborghini, you know, and like a muscle car. Like, I personally don't like muscle cars. Like, never was a huge fan. Obviously, I had an Evo 10. But again, I don't hate people that like muscle cars. It's just we have a different opinion. You know, we like different things for whatever reason. And for me, I like things that are sleek, angular, sharp. You know, like that's what I like. That's why I like the look of Lamborghinis. I'm not like a huge like Lamborghini fanatic, but I like the look of them. I liked the Evos a lot because of how they had a very sleek, you know, kind of aerodynamic look to them. And that's why I like sport bikes. You know, they look sharp and like just aggressive and just awesome. See, it's like I did all that to go 60. and that's, hold on, because I think about this a lot though. There is something to be said about changing gears. You know what I mean? So like revving your bike all the way out and just banging through gears, like there's something to be said about that. Like that's definitely an enjoyable experience, and it's not something you'll get on a bigger bike than this without being seriously dumb. Because first gear is going to take you like into the 80-90 range depending on the bike and the gearing and everything. So like if you're revving out first, you're already going really fast. And then you're going to bang second and third, you're going to be at like 130 or 140 or whatever. Like if that's your thing and you're like, yeah, I can do both and still have fun, like I know that wouldn't be me. I would not be the one revving it to redline and banging through gears on a liter bike on the street. That would never be me. I know people, they all say that, but it's like, dude, maybe once in a while on the freeway, like with no cars around. But you know, this you can do it on every single stop, at every single light, first, second, third, and get to 60 and not get in trouble. And you know what I mean? Like, that's the caveat to this whole thing, is like, you won't get in trouble. So yeah, I think the video is going on for long enough. I actually ended up like rambling about so many things that like I didn't even think I'd be talking about. So I just want to say thanks if you made it this far, or if you skipped to here, I don't really care. Thanks. Just thanks for watching it at all. Hopefully it was enjoyable and my rambling wasn't just like incessant as all hell. So oh, nice VQ motor. Thanks again, and I'm gonna try and think of a few like actual topics and like do some brainstorming about what I'll be saying in the next videos or talking about, and try and keep the time less. This is just kind of an experiment for me right here. You know, it's like my first video. Like I said, I filmed this already once pretty much, and then had to go out and do it again. I kind of talked about similar topics, but it wasn't exactly the same. So let me know if you have any like advice. You know, like I'm not expecting to be like huge YouTube star, anything like that. I just want to go out and be able to like talk about things, even if there's only like 10 people that like recurringly watch my videos. and listen to what I say and like respond in the comments, and like I can just touch out to people like that, you know, like, and meet other riders or people that want to be riders and try and give like advice that I've learned. I'm super down for that. Like, that'd be really cool. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Dylan again, go by Gemini on YouTube. Peace.